Hey guys, this is Chris with OneSupport.com coming to you today with another unboxing and product review video. Today I have the Apple TV 4K. The Apple TV is a multimedia streaming device similar to that of a Roku. You would plug this into your television, download apps to this, and watch Netflix or Hulu or any other streaming service on your television. You would get this if you don't have a smart TV or if you do have a smart TV that doesn't have your favorite streaming app on it. The back of the box lists Netflix, Prime Video, ESPN, Apple Music, Hulu, HBO Now, and thousands more. On the back of the box, it shows the Apple TV as well as the remote. It appears as though the remote is longer in size than the actual device, so we'll open it up and take a look at that. This one is the 32 gig model. There's also a 64 gig model available. We picked this up on Amazon, and we'll have that linked in the description below. The Apple 4K clearly broadcasts in 4K resolution. However, that is dependent upon your internet connection, streaming service, and your television's capability. Well, let's open it up and take a look inside. Alright, so you have the typical Apple packaging of the white box with the device clearly pictured on it. And when you open it up, it looks like an Apple product. You have your remote here, which, as we mentioned earlier, it is longer than the device itself. Alright, over here on the side you have your power cable. Over here on this side you have your Apple Lightning cable and your Let's Get Started manual. So, interesting to note, there is no HDMI cable in the package. Alright. The remote is nice. You have your matte black finish on the top half. You have your glossy finish on the bottom. It's lightweight. Buttons push in nicely. An interesting fact is that I had a Apple remote years ago, and it was different than this. There was a round button in the middle for controlling. This is, this is hefty. What's interesting is that, this is 32 gigs of flash storage. My phone has 64 gigs, and my phone is much smaller and lighter. My phone's longer, but, yeah. And the design itself, you have your matte black on top, your glossy around it, and on the back you have your ports for your power cable, an HDMI cable, which didn't come in the box, and an Ethernet port for internet connectivity. So in the box we had our power cable, we had our Apple TV device, we had a Apple Lightning cable, which charges your Apple remote. Alright, so interesting to note, the Apple TV does not come with an HDMI cable. So if you do purchase this device, you will also need to purchase an HDMI cable if you don't have an extra one laying around the house. So the Apple TV itself is probably, I would say, maybe 3.5 inches by 3.5 inches, maybe 4, I'm not sure. Probably about an inch tall. It has these vents on the bottom for cooling. The weight, it's pretty hefty. I would, the closest thing I would equate to it is maybe a 2.5 pound plate. The remote itself has a very sleek design. I like the matte black on top, glossy on bottom. The positioning of the buttons is actually a very natural feeling here. You do have a microphone button so that if you want to use Siri, you can. You have your play pause button, up-down button, your menu button, and I'm assuming your AirPlay button. And what's interesting is, I just realized this matte black part, that's a button itself. So, without looking at the manual, what we're going to do is we're going to plug it in, see how easy and intuitive it is to set up, and take a look at the interface. Here we have Apple Music, Photos, and the App Store. Let's take a look at the App Store. So, that's cool. There are games for Apple TV, I guess. That's interesting. Here you have all of your streaming services. You have games. Other recommended apps. So you click on an app to install the app. You see a lot of the apps that you may want here. Food Network, NBA, ESPN, MLB, Amazon Shopping, that's interesting. Some more games. What else is available here?
Top, yeah, because those are the featured apps. See if you can go to charts or categories and see what's available.
Let's take a look at top charts. So you have Netflix, number one, no surprise there. YouTube, Hulu, Prime Video. Interesting to note, you cannot stream Prime Video to a Chromecast. Games, Crossy Road, Just Dance. I wonder how Just Dance would work without... I don't know, maybe there's an accelerometer in this?
Maybe.
Oh, podcasts. That's cool. Movies. I guess this is going to be the store, not the movies I've already purchased.
Could be both.
Okay, yeah, so up at the top you see purchased. So these are the movies I've already purchased from iTunes. You have top movies. I want to see the upside.
Yeah, I thought that would be really good. That's Bryan Cranston.
And Kevin Hart in a serious role.
Yeah.
The Hunger Games trilogy for $20 or less here. So here's something interesting to note. I actually have the John Wick double feature and the Hunger Games collection. However, I got those in physical copy and used the codes on Vudu. So let's find out if there's a Vudu app. There it is, Vudu. Alright, so movies that I've purchased physical copies of and redeemed the code through Vudu, I can watch on my Apple TV. Let's stream a movie that we've already purchased. Alright, so we click on Star Wars, and that's cool. We don't even have a download option. It's just streaming, which is nice because we only have 32 gigs of storage on this device. So let's hit play and see what happens. Okay, so my initial thoughts on the Apple TV, I really like it. It was interesting to see that this was an actual button. Really cool to see that it had scrolling features, like a trackpad. Now, my question to you, Miguel, as an Android user, PC user, and anti-Apple fanboy, what are your thoughts on it?
Honestly, I would want to purchase this for my mom, like immediately. She just got rid of cable, so she doesn't actually have anything outside of our internet access. I don't think that, I think this would be a step up from her trying to navigate another device like a console or something to use television. I think this feels a lot more comfortable for me to try to show her how to use it. So I think that this would be a great thing in the house to use. I have a Roku that I used to use, but just use a console now at this point. So I think this is a really good, device to be used. I have no problem not having like the screen mirroring capability because I'm not using AirPlay. I don't really require that. I do have an iPad in the house, which I could use if I needed to.
Does your mom use Apple devices?
Not anymore.
Okay.
We're all Android.
Okay, so you would recommend this for your mom as not even as using the Apple ecosystem, but as a just multimedia streaming device. The functionality of it and everything.
I'm in the market right now for either a Roku or say like a Fire Stick or something, so she could use. This is now a contender. Seeing how easy it was for you to use that was kind of something to me that says, hey, I could probably get this for her.
So, and that's a topic of conversation, is the ease of setup. Once we were able to get it set up, installed, and use it, the ease of use was actually intuitive. I wasn't thinking about the fact that I was using this remote that has this sensor on it, which to me is almost a novelty, right? I'm used to directional buttons on my Samsung Smart TV remote. So I wasn't thinking of it as a novelty, it was just intuitive. So that was my first impression for the Apple TV. I'm going to go ahead and play around with it a little bit this weekend and come back after the weekend to give a final impression on it. So now that I've had the weekend to play with it, I really do like the Apple TV. The biggest difference is that for the past few years, I've been using a Google Chromecast, a lot of times with the Movies Anywhere app. So the biggest difference is that I've purchased the Mission Impossible bundle on iTunes, and the film studio that made Mission Impossible doesn't have a licensing agreement with Movies Anywhere. So when I go to my Movies Anywhere app and I look through my movies, Mission Impossible doesn't show up in here. Same with the Hunger Games trilogy or John Wick movies. Certain film studios don't have licensing agreements with Movies Anywhere. However, every movie I've purchased either a physical copy and redeemed a digital code of, or every movie I've purchased on iTunes is always available on Apple TV. Another big difference is that I can use Prime Video on my Apple TV. That's something that you can't cast to a Chromecast. You have to have a Fire Stick for. So everything all in one place is kind of a big deal for me, and I really appreciate that. The remote was, very responsive to touch, and it was easy to use. So again, the Apple TV 4K 32 gig came in at about $150 on Amazon, and I'll have that linked below. I think that's probably the biggest point of contention, is that, a Chromecast is around $50. I could buy 3 of those for one of these and have one on several TVs throughout my home. At $150, I'm going to be less likely to purchase multiple of these, but it's a great device to have in the living room so I can watch movies with my son. The Apple TV also had the native Apple Podcasts app, which is nice. I listen to a lot of podcasts, a lot of people do. I don't know how likely I would be to listen to one on my TV. I typically listen to them while I'm driving long distances. You can get the Pandora app for it. There is not a Spotify app, which is the music streaming service I use the most. Another great feature of the Apple TV is the screen mirroring or AirPlay feature. It's great to put one thing on, my TV so I can monitor my YouTube channel and see in real time the amount of likes and comments that I'm getting while I'm editing video over here on my computer. It's all coming from the same device, except I'm allowed to share one screen or one browser window to the Apple TV while I'm still working over here, so I have, dual screens essentially. So in conclusion, I'm very happy with the Apple TV. Not only am I able to mirror the screen of my iPad or my phone or my computer so that I can, multitask, it's also great for movies that I've purchased that aren't available in the Movies Anywhere app. It's great if I want to watch Prime Video, which I can't cast to my Chromecast. So at $180, it's a wonderful device to have in the family room. For me personally, I probably won't buy one to put in every room of the house, but when they come out with a new one, I could upgrade the one in the family room and then put this one in my room or my son's room. Alright, well that's all I have for you today. I hope you enjoyed my review of the Apple TV and found it useful. If you have any experience using an Apple TV, go ahead and leave a comment down below letting me know what you think about it. And in the meantime, if you have any questions on how to set up your Apple TV or how to use your iOS devices or your MacBook with it, visit us at onesupport.com. Thanks for watching.